What is up, everyone? X-Spartan 1000 here, and we are back with another Star Ocean and Divine Force build video. This time we're going to be taking a look at Leticia. Leticia is one that I had requested quite a few times, and I was carefully trying to put together a build that would be sufficient whenever the computer is using her and whenever you are using her. And to be honest, I couldn't tell you which one I thought was more difficult. Because I know the computer definitely struggles to keep up with consistent output, even when you give them the simplest commands with certain characters. So I wanted to try to make a build that was going to make it so she was always contributing something throughout the fight, and then whenever you're controlling her, you can still have fun with the combos while dealing decently high damage. Taking a quick look at her stats, she's kind of all over, and that's because I grabbed at this point a lot of skills off her paradigm, like in every area. But the focus is going to be on ATK and Imp. She's actually a hybrid character as well. I know she kind of gives off the vibe of a warrior, but she has a lot of potential for magic damage as well. In terms of grabbing resistances or stacking defense or guts, you don't really have to. This is more of if you want to be more of a safe player, by all means go ahead, but it's not going to be the things that are going to make or break this character. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump into her paradigm. So you could take two paths to starting her. Going upwards is going to lead to your physical abilities. Going downwards is going to lead into your magical abilities. And I say her best core is to start off physical, mainly because her strongest damage dealing move between the physical and magic damage is at the top of this side of the tree. So we'll go ahead and path up and grab these ATK swords, and then we will come down and grab the Grand move. Grand is just going to be for a gap closer and an animation cancel for the enemy and letting you get a light attack in for only 1 AP, which is nice in the beginning of the game because you don't have much stamina to work with unless you're really good at hitting those blind sides. We'll grab this next ATK up sword and then Vitality Drive. We're not planning on using Vitality Drive, we're just kind of grabbing it to path. We're going to go down here and grab Guts, grab another ATK sword, and then grab All In. All In is something we're going to be using quite a lot with this character, and that is because at level 10, it'll bestow 80% attack for 2 seconds. 2 seconds doesn't seem like a long time, but if you're familiar with Duma's S3 Cage ability, Extend Force, you can make buffs expire 30% slower. This is a very big deal whenever you're considering running All In your kit, because 2 seconds is not going to last very long in real time. But whenever S3 Cage is out, that buff will sit there for a long time, and 80% is a lot of damage to be sitting on for, uh, upwards of 5 seconds. Not to mention, there are plenty of other people who could add on to that 80% already. And if they're giving you at least 20%, well, then boom, that's 100% extra damage. So from that point, we can come back here and then get Liberation. Liberation is a flashier move, but not dealing anything incredible for damage. It does have a knockback, however, and the AP is only 2, so it's useful in the early game. You can grab it just for finesse and combos, but it's not something that's going to make or break this kit. We're going to go for some more ATK up swords and then path up to Mistral. This one's nice for AoE and pushing people back, and I'm not too certain if it's a portion of it is magic damage because it does have the wind element up there, but it does primarily say that it's ATK and it's only 48. This doesn't do a whole lot of damage and isn't going to be something we're going to be spamming a whole lot in the later levels. It's just something to grab so we can continue to path upward. You want to eventually grab this ATK up sword, and then you want to go grab One for All. We don't plan to use One for All either. We're just kind of pathing up again. Supernova is that big move that I mentioned earlier. This is her highest damage dealing move that her kit has to offer. Currently, I have it at level 7, and its power attack is at 457. This move is a combo, and once she finishes it, that last hit absolutely melts the target. So if you were to all in and then Supernova, whoever you're looking at is dead by the end of that combo, if they even live to the end of that combo. Because you got to remember, she'll have 80% extra damage the entire way through this. This is something you're going to be spamming nonstop. At this point, if you wanted to grab some extra health, guts, or defense, you could, but it's not the focus of this build, so we can continue to path on down here. Now we can start to get into the magical side of Leticia. You'll grab the first int, and then you're basically going to try to path your way to as many of the int ups as you can. Passing straight down isn't a bad idea because you can grab first aid. First aid is super good for survivability, especially when you inevitably get hit by something. This move is also pretty decent. 120, and it's counting as magic damage. So you'll have to, if you really want this to hit hard, you're going to have to make sure you're equipping her with accessories, or at least gunning enough of these int up skill tree points to make sure that this move will continue to hit harder. Then we'll go for auto healing, because auto healing is just a nice passive to keep yourself sustained, especially in between long battles. We'll grab this next int up right here, and then we'll see one of the first elemental buffs that she gets to add to her weapon. Now, there's a few of these, and they're going to be situational for how you use them. And this is why I was saying I think the computer would have a tough time using her, especially if you did grab these abilities and put them on her. Now, it's not necessarily a flat-out damage buff like All In. It's going to give her that element for the blade. So if the computer knows when to use that, that will be very good. I honestly doubt that, though, that they'll know when to use it. But if you're using Leticia and you know wind is effective on the enemy type that you're attacking, this would be worth running, because then you could pop the wind swords and then All In after that, and then go for a supernova and do some pretty crazy damage. And the same could be said for the earth imbuement on her weapons. She also has a fire one as well. And then lastly, down here, she has a melee attack where she is able to send a tornado hurling towards the enemies for 300 magic damage at the base level of 1. Now, this is the second strongest ability in her kit. I would highly recommend, after maxing Supernova, go for this move next, especially if you're actually putting on accessories to make her strong magically too. And I think it'll make you more versatile anyway to level up the magical side of Leticia, because you will fight enemies that will have weaknesses to wind or just to magical attacks. And honestly, it's a nice AoE move. I've seen this move pick up 3 or 4 adds and completely obliterate them. All In does stack with this because it gives you 80% magic damage as well. So that's perfectly a good combo to All In and then do that. I don't believe the buffs for the sword will count with this move right here, however. But still, the buffs for the sword could still be very useful. Currently, I don't run them because I think it would be too much for the computer to actually handle. So I only give the computer All In and then load it up with supernovas in this tornado move at the bottom right. As for what you're going to focus in here, though, you're just looking for the int ups and then pathing through it. Clever Fighter is a notable passive skill that you would definitely want to pick up, because she can convert a good bit of her damage, because you do physical damage with her and you deal magic damage. So you definitely will want to grab this and level this up at some point in time. Backing out of her tree and getting into what the passive skills that are set up could be. First aid's nice because with inevitable hits getting through, you could recover a small amount of health instead of getting one-shotted. Auto healing is nice to help you sustain yourself throughout the fight. And again, clever fighting is good because you will be able to convert a portion of that attack damage or the magic damage to get added into her attack stat, because you are dealing magic and physical the entire time. So this will be worth doing. For chain combos, if you want the computer to absolutely just get straight to it and not sit around wasting time, just equip supernovas straight across the board. It's seamless enough for her to spam, because the supernova in itself is a combo leading up to an intense dual strike at the ending to knock the enemy back, if not just straight up kill them. So spamming this in a row is definitely worth doing as a player and for the computer to use. I keep all in on the hold move because having buffs mid combo doesn't flow very well. The animations kind of like break. So maybe you just all in for the whole thing and then just spam supernovas after that. A combo I strung together to try to make sure that, I had something else to go off of if I didn't have enough AP, because you can't go for combos that are like super AP heavy whenever you're first getting on the game or coming back from a rest, because you don't have much stamina to use. This Nemesis move is pretty good. It's doing 100 for the power attack, and it's only having 2 AP to use, so that's pretty nice. Going into this move right here will grant you some magic damage and some kite ability away from a move. If the enemy is pressing you, they will take that damage and get stunned out of their animation. Following up with a supernova after that will be very punishing to clip these 3 together. It's not too demanding. Just spam whenever you don't have much going on for AP whenever the fights are just starting. And then I'd say take this move for a hold ability instead of trying to clip it in, because it kind of is a solo act sort of ability. You kind of just want to drop this whenever you're trying to knock over a big group of ads to throw them off their balance, or to just completely one-shot a crowd of enemies, because it does have the potential to do that, as this is only level 1 and it's starting out at 300. So you could all in and then go straight into a tornado move and just wipe the crowd of enemies. You could start a combo off with this move, however, and then go into a supernova on a bigger enemy like the dragons or the bosses. You could definitely start off doing the tornado move, and then going into 2 supernovas after that to stack on some pretty heavy damage. I kept the Mistral move on too because it's only 3 AP to use, and it could get some people out of your face if you really were just getting surrounded. But honestly, if you found yourself getting surrounded, you're probably better off going for this move. That is, if you have the AP to pull it off, because it's going to do way more damage and displace the enemies very well. I feel like this is a setup you could run for yourself and the computer and never have to change it. There definitely could be better light attack spammier combos you could come up with. However, I feel like this is going to be the most efficient way of laying the enemies down quickly, and something that the computer can grasp without getting confused and, just completely messing up the kit that you gave it to do. All in is going to be your bread and butter for Leticia. I believe she's going to have to spam this. The moves that she has, they deal decent damage, but I feel like they're just way more noticeably stronger with this 80% buff, and especially if you get S3 Cage, once you have the S3 Cage unlocked and you get Extend buff, you absolutely should run that, because then you get the most out of her damage. You are missing out on so much damage if you don't get the Extend buff for Duma while you're controlling Leticia. And in terms of strengthening skills, going into combat, I would say start with Supernova. Supernova is very good. Single target damage. It could potentially hit multiple people. I know it says target single, but if they're in the way of that point of the combo where she's twirling up in the air or the final attack, she is going to hit more than one person. So it is worth doing, and the damage just scales so high. This is an absolute must for you to max. Secondary will be the tornado move. This is her best magic dealing damage ability that she has to offer. It's going to hit a crowd of enemies, sending them helplessly into the air, and honestly, if they survive it, you'll be able to rush them down before they're even on their feet. But most people are just going to get eradicated before they hit the ground. After that point, I wouldn't say max anything else just yet in the combat skills. I would say go to your active skills and then go to all in. You could even max all in first if you wanted to in the early game, because getting it leveled up early wouldn't be a bad idea, because 80% attack buff getting added to you in the early game, especially if you keep Nina with you, you could have 95% for attack and int. That's pretty crazy for the early game. That's insane for the buffs. And I bet it can go higher than that, because I haven't even leveled up Nina's sheer bravery yet, and I know the statistics go up as you spec into this. So 100% go for all in. As for your passive skills, if you really want to focus the damagey portion of your passive skills, obviously level up Clever Fighter because the other two don't offer you anything. But if you found yourself in a pinch for health, like you're taking way too much damage too fast and you feel like you're getting one-shotted, go for first aid to mitigate some of that. And then if it feels like you just need to be able to sustain yourself throughout the fight, grab auto healing, and that'll make the heals even better because you'll be naturally regenerating off of your own regen while getting heals over time from Nina or Malkia if you're running her. And that would pretty much wrap up the Leticia build. You could, of course, grab extra defense and health like I did for her once you're in the late game, because if the levels really do go to 255, you'll have plenty of points to do that. And you can definitely grab those elemental moves as well. I don't grab them because I usually let the computer use Leticia, and I think it would just complicate how the damage is supposed to come out, because really she should just be popping all in and then spamming supernova or going for that tornado move that I cannot pronounce for the life of me. If you enjoyed this build video, leave a like, comment what you thought down below. Let me know what you're doing differently in your builds. If there's a combo that I probably need to update or add that's not so focused on supernova or the tornado move, let me know. If you're new to this channel, subscribe. There's plenty of Star Ocean content coming out. In the future, I'm going to be doing another playthrough starting as Leticia and then uploading those walkthrough videos as well. And of course, I'll be revising all the other build videos that I put out as well. And it probably will take some time to get Theo's build video out, because if I was really reading that correctly, I think you can only play as Theo if you're doing Leticia's playthrough, and I'm currently doing Raymond's starter story, so I don't know if I'll be able to do Theo's for quite a while, but I do intend to put one up for people that do want to see how I would do that. I appreciate you guys checking out all the build videos, leaving likes and comments. It means so much to me. I'm going to keep continuing to try to put out this good Star Ocean content for everyone. But that's enough for me. I've been Xbarton1000, and I will catch you guys in the next broadcast or video.